Across the Fence, improving Vermont's water quality through education. We'll head to the classroom where experts from UVM Extension are teaching farmers how to improve the health of our waterways and the farm's bottom line. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. If you've driven around the state in the past month, you've no doubt caught a whiff that farmers have been out fertilizing their fields. For farmers, manure is far from a waste product. It's a hugely important resource for their business. Making sure nutrients are used effectively, efficiently, and in an environmentally sustainable way is one of the few things farmers can control in an otherwise volatile industry. UVM Extension teaches a course in nutrient management, and now's the time when those classes are paying off. Here's UVM Extension agronomist Heather Darby.
We think it's expensive to do this, that, or the other thing to take care of our soils, but today you cannot afford not to do this. This is what's going to protect you from those 2-inch rainstorms. We're teaching farmers how to write nutrient management plans. It's a 5-week course that UVM Extension has developed to essentially take farmers start to finish through developing an entire nutrient management plan for their farm that currently meets state and all federal standards. For most farms, developing what we would call a certified nutrient management plan is not a requirement by law. For some farms it is. For larger farms, medium farms, livestock producers, it's a state requirement. But having a good nutrient management plan that helps you allocate on-farm nutrient resources, where they should go to the crops that need them at the right time, ultimately minimizing on-farm fertilizer purchases helps the environment, helps the farm viability, and really helps the community as a whole when farmers go through this process. It's important to understand what's in the soil and what the crop needs and how to balance those needs. This is just basic, really basic farming practices. You want to maximize yields and quality, minimize the input costs, and sort of maximize, the viability of your business, while at the same time, having a positive benefit on the environment or a very minimal impact. And that's for every farm.
Manure is not considered a waste product, it's considered a resource. There's lots of value to it. So you don't want to throw that away either. We work, we're supportive of like the injection method, for manure spreading and stuff. And we work a lot with farmers to kind of store their manure, so it can be applied. We have a spreading ban in the winter, so you have to store manure over the winter. So there are good ways to do that and not so good ways. So we help fund various manure storage types of systems and things like that.
It doesn't matter how you choose to farm, if you're large or small, organic or not organic, if you're a vegetable farmer or a livestock producer, you're having an impact on the soil and the environment around you. And this process just helps you understand what that impact might be, understand how to minimize that, while at the same time, improving your crops and your management. And it's good really for every farm. I mean, just in terms of...
Heather joins me in the studio now. It's great to see you again. How many participants have gone through the UVM Extension Nutrient Management Planning course, and what's been the feedback that you've gotten?
Yeah, well, the class has actually been going on almost for 10 years now, actually quite a long time, and there's been a couple hundred farmers that have gone through the course over that time. It's certainly expanded over the last couple of years. We used to have maybe 10 or 12 farms a year, and now we have about 60 farms over the last couple of years going through the class. The feedback I get from farmers is great. I mean, when they first walk in the door and they hear they're going to have to do homework and come and learn and sit still and not be outside doing things, it's class. And they're worried, but by the end they're really glad that they took the course.
So what's the level of sophistication that's taught in this course as far as science, math, and technology is concerned?
I mean, it's really interesting. We go through soil physics, soil chemistry, soil biology, hydrology, all kinds of scientific principles that the farmers have to learn, and then bring that sort of science right down to the farm, to the fields. and make it really relevant. So there's a lot that they have to learn.
How much one-on-one time do participants get with UVM Extension faculty and staff?
Yeah, well, we try to have, I'm the instructor for the class. There's other instructors as well at different locations. And then we try to have one assistant per 2 farms. So it's a pretty individualized class because it takes a lot of time to get the data entered into the nutrient management plan. So we want to make sure everybody keeps going and gets it done.
Now, this isn't necessarily new information for farmers, so what are they learning?
Yeah, well, there's not a lot of new information. I think some of the farms don't necessarily always know the scientific background, the kind of principles of it. And so they learn something new about that, like how quickly nitrogen volatilizes from the manure if it's not incorporated right away, and why that actually happens. So they know the nitrogen goes away if they don't incorporate it, but we teach them, well, why exactly does that happen? So they're kind of learning the science behind what they already know, and I think it helps them implement new practices, and also helps it make a lot more sense when they see the science behind it.
Right. One of the benefits of the course is having a completed nutrient management plan at the end. What's the value of that document?
Well, from the farmer's perspective, it gives them a plan of what to do throughout the season. It really lays out for each individual field, each crop, the amount of manure that will be applied, how far from the river or stream, when it gets incorporated. So that's of high value to them. And if they need to add additional fertilizer, the document itself for some farms is a federal requirement or a state requirement. So they have that completed document. And then if they're applying for USDA cost share programs, they also generally need a nutrient management plan to be eligible for that. So it also helps them apply for other programs.
Now, there's something called GoCrop. What is that, and how does it fit into this course?
So GoCrop is the UVM Extension nutrient management planning tool. It's a web and mobile-based application, so the farmers can actually use it on their cell phones. And it's, helps us develop the plans and then implement the plans. It's pretty state-of-the-art. It's the only program like that that really exists for farmers in the country. And it really is much easier to do a plan than the old way. We used to do it with, calculators and pencils and a lot of erasers.
And so how do you know if farmers are using the plan? Is there a follow-up?
Yeah, so, they leave the class and kind of business as normal after that. And what we try to do is follow up with the farmers that have taken the class during the season to make sure they're able to implement the plan. And then we also hold update classes after they've attended the class so they can come back in sort of continuing education to help them keep the plan current and in use.
And so what does it say about a farmer when they're not required to have a nutrient management plan, but they take this course anyway?
Yeah, well, they generally want to make their business a bit better. They want to understand the science behind nutrient management planning. They're in some ways being very proactive as well. A lot of farmers took this class before the new water quality regulations came out, and many of those farms now will be required to have these plans. So, I just think it shows a level of proactive planning on their part, for sure.
Because, once again, this manure is a huge resource.
Yeah. It really helps them save money. A lot of farms save quite a bit of money by basically figuring out how many nutrients are in the manure and then applying that based on the crop needs and environmental conditions and situations. So it really can save them quite a bit of money.
And so farmers can pay to have nutrient management plans done by other consultants. Why do they choose Extension?
Well, some ways farmers are do-it-yourself type of people. They like to do something on their own if they can without paying someone else to do it. So that can be surely a motive for a lot of farms. They feel it's cheaper to come in and actually do it on their own, which it is. And then a lot of farms really just want to learn. Some farms have had plans developed and they choose to take the class anyway so they can really better understand what's in the plan.
Talk a little bit more about how nutrient management plans are part of the solution for improving water quality in Vermont.
Yeah, well, a nutrient management plan, again, it's a field by field report card in a way that basically shows the farmer on an individual field how many nutrients can be applied, when they should be applied, and when, how not to have any environmental harm. So that's really kind of what a plan does. So it has crop yields in mind as well as the environment. And so when those two things can go hand in hand and a farmer can maximize yields and protect the environment, I think everybody can see why that would be really good for water quality.
With best management practices like these plans are in place, why does Lake Champlain continue to be impacted, do you think?
Yeah, well, we're just, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. I believe that's a very long answer. But, farmers are implementing their plans. But, the unfortunate piece is we don't have a lot of control over the weather. And weather is not built into a nutrient management plan. The real world often of what happens when you apply nutrients the way they should be applied, and then we have, a deluge of rain or something like that. And then, I also feel like we are just on the cusp of trying to create and write lots of plans for farmers to implement. So we're just, getting started, and there's still a lot of work to do for sure.
Do you see a time in the not-too-distant future where spreading manure will look and smell a lot different than it does today?
I don't know if manure will ever smell different than how it smells now, but there's a lot of innovative practices and new technology that are coming out that I'm sure we'll hear about on this show in the future, that, has farmers getting manure into the ground very quickly, and that practice actually reduces the overall smell and also conserves nutrients for the farms and the crops too. So, yeah, I think things are changing pretty quickly from the smell perspective.
What do you think is the biggest sort of misconception that maybe the public has about farming and nutrient management?
Well, I think manure, it's very visual, and we have these spreaders that kind of look like they're just throwing it into the air. We saw it in the video, and I've actually heard people saying that, I can't believe they just throw it into the air like that. But manure is an extremely valuable resource for farmers. And it's really about how we manage that resource, just like anything else, to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do, the good things that it's supposed to do, because it could potentially be of harm to the environment. But just because someone's out in their field spreading manure doesn't mean that they're doing something bad. 99.9% of the time, what's happening is very good for the crops, and actually very good for the soil too. And that's what I think people kind of misunderstand, that manure is, just a waste product, and we're just throwing it out there.
Yeah, maybe think twice about that when you're putting fertilizer on your lawn.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Are these courses ongoing throughout the year? Are they geared toward a specific time of year?
Yeah, we actually,
because farmers are pretty busy.
Yeah, we wouldn't be hosting a class now. We do them in the winter. They generally start right after the new year, and it is a 5-week to 6-week program. So it's a big time commitment, not just for the farmers, but also for UVM staff and other staff that helps from the Natural Resource Conservation Service and the conservation districts. So it's a big partnership amongst agencies and farmers, and it takes a lot of time and time commitment, but we all think it's really worth it, because knowledge is power, and putting that knowledge right in the driver's seat is really important to the farmers, farm viability, and to this quest we have to improve the quality of the lake. So I think we're all invested in this program.
Well, if you'd like to learn more about UVM Extension's work in nutrient management, as well as access a calendar of the workshops and field days taking place this summer, click on the link to agriculture on the UVM Extension website. You can follow the links to the Extension agronomy team in your area. Heather, thanks so much.
Thank you.
That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. I'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.